Test. Test.
David, ready? All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is May 28, 2026. We're going to call the Green Valley Special Utility District meeting to order. All board members are here except for Mr. Cumby. He's out of town, or actually out of country. David, ready? For excuse.
I make a
All
motion to
right.
excuse
Good morning,
Mr.
everybody.
Quimby.
Today is May. You're good. Thank you. Motion to excuse from Ms. McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sherman. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to invocation and pledge. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask your continued blessing over Green Valley, its ratepayers and customers, and its employees, staff, and everybody in between. We ask that you heal anybody that needs to be healed. We ask that you give the board wisdom and knowledge to push this company in the right direction. As always, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So this morning we have some scholarships that we're going to be passing out. This has been a dream of mine, and I believe the board as well. About 3 years ago, we were trying to do what we can to financially be in the right direction so that we are able to give back to the community and the hardworking students that are trying to make something of themselves. So, Mr. Gage, if you would like to come up and give us a rundown.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So first off, I want to announce to the board we have our 3 scholarship winners. Present with us today in the boardroom, we have Jake Lesage, Ian Navarez, and Aiden Englehart. Did I pronounce that right, Aiden? That did pretty good? Okay, good. And so Jill joins us, right? Aiden's mom, and then Elizabeth joins us, with Jake. And I'm sorry, Ian's mom, you said your name was Rivet. Okay, Rivet is here for Ian. So these fine young men, right? So as you know, our president was alluding to, and for you men that are getting the scholarships, you know, today, we started this program. You know, we wanted to do it, and we finally got it put together in 2026, right? So they're 5-year scholarships, you know, and the thing that you young men need to understand is these scholarships are actually coming from your neighbors, your mom and dad, the people sitting on the boardroom right now, and the community that supports you. And so when we went through this process, we decided that we wanted to give back to the communities in which we live in. And so the money that you're receiving is literally from your neighbors. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're helping our community and building our community, right? And so the process that you went through is all about, you know, selecting what we thought was going to be the best. And so what we challenge you to do in your endeavors as you move forward, you know, we've got somebody going, Jake's going to TSTC, and Aiden's going to Texas Tech, and Ian, where were you going? Texas State, right? So in all of your endeavors at these universities and whatever you're doing, the community's behind you, right? So I'll just tell you, you owe us something, right? Because we voted for you. And never forget that your community stands behind you. And we wish you well in your endeavors. So without further ado, I'm going to start with Jake. And how we're going to do this, I'll kind of explain it. I'll ask Mr. Frias to come around the dais, and then we're going to award you individually, and then we'll take a picture. And then we're going to get the board to come around the dais, and we'll get all 3 of you up here, and then we'll take a picture all together. Everyone kind of know the plan? Okay, sounds good. So let's start off. Let's bring up Aiden first. Aiden Engelhart. Those things are hard to get, okay? Those hangouts are going to come back up, and next we're going to come up and ask Jake to join us. All right. For you, sir. Good luck to you. And finally, we have and board, if you'll come around so we can see. And then I must say that y'all don't have to hang around for the rest of the board meeting, okay?
Very excited.
You can if you want to, but.
Awesome. Glad to do that. We're now moving to public comment. I don't believe we have anybody here. We're good? All right, moving on to consent agenda. All items listed below are to be considered routine, non-controversial by the board and will be approved by one motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a board member so choose and requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered an action taken as necessary as a part of the order of business. We have E1 through 7. Do I have any comments, concerns, or anything that needs to be addressed?
I would like Mr. Basham just to give us the briefest of overview on item 7. And other than that, I'll make a motion to approve items E1 through 6.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Sherman. Do I have a second? I have Mr. Hendricks seconding it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. E7.
Very brief
Yes.
explanation.
So during the construction committee, Mr. Sherman asked me to include the change order. It's change order 1.1 for the Clearwater Creek treatment plant. Basically, they needed to make an adjustment to the access road coming into the lift station. And the adjustment was made because of the development in the area. They were putting in a new unit that affected the alignment of the road, and so they shifted the alignment, and that's what the change order is for. It's at no additional cost to the district. The Clearwater Creek is fully funded by Lennar Homes, so.
Okay. For the record.
I agree with it, as Travis explained it here and in the construction committee meeting, based on the dollar amount that is funded by the development. I just wanted it to run past the board, so that's why I've asked for it
So
here.
be it's
Yeah,
recorded.
and moving forward to touch on Nick's comment, I'll be putting together a new SOP for change orders, and we'll have certain thresholds that I'll review with Mr. Gage and the construction committee on for approving change orders moving forward. So
All right, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item E7.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Sherman, second by Mr. Robertson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Going to item F, hear updates on the following items from GVSUD General Manager, staff, committee chairs. F1, employee recognition, Mr. Gage.
Okay, as always, we have, I've got good news for the board, and we've obtained 3 more licenses since we met last. We got 2 D-level licenses for relatively new guys, and we got 1 C-level license. It was an increase from a D to a C. And so, I'm gonna ask all 3 of them to come up at the same time. Caleb, Colton, and Corey, all 3 at the same time. Please come up. And and I'll just say, and you guys know this is true. Like Corey right here, it was what, a few months ago we recognized Corey for his D license, and yeah, but he's already got his C. And something. So Jeremiah and I were in the service area yesterday, going around and doing some things with meters that we had to do. And we were talking in the truck, right? And I think there's something that I want to point out to the board and point out to the guys in the back, right? I mean, when you have a challenge and you succeed at something and you do it all on your own, it makes you want the next challenge, right? And so I said, I think what we're seeing here is, with all the guys getting their licenses at the rate that they're getting their license, they want to get the next one already. And Corey's an example of that. He went from D to a C very quickly. And I just would like to say, I'm always proud of the guys for what they do, but I think it's really important that we recognize them, and I appreciate the board giving me the opportunity to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and recognize these 3 guys, Corey for his C, and Colton and Caleb for their D. All right. Big guy. All right, stay up. And little guy, okay. You can come back in 2 weeks if you need to. And Colton, you can come back in 2 weeks too if you need to. Y'all come up here and let's take a picture. All right. Somebody stand up. Yeah, that way, yeah, where we go.
Let me get one more real quick. Hold on. Okay, thank you.
Let me get my glasses.
I'm definitely not tired of winning, that's for sure. It's like every month we're over here getting some wins. That's awesome. Love it. Awesome. Now we're going to item F2, business operations. Mr. Gage, give us your updates.
Okay, updates are really brief this board meeting. The memo is actually close to correct. I mean, I wrote it last week, and we did onboard two new hires on the 26th. So that statement's correct. Just for the financial milestones, we're on pace. We're on target for everything. I have started the rate review, and I just want to tell the board something interesting that I found already. Within our 5/8 residential meters, our majority of our customers have shifted from the 5,000 to 10,000 tier on usage to the 2,000 to 5,000 tier. Not by very much, by about 400 people is what I've found so far. But it goes to show you, year over year, as we add, new customers, our profile kind of changes. And so I'm in the analysis now for, what we're going to do for rates. I'll work on it the rest of this month, and in June, we do have a Finance Investment Committee meeting coming up in June, which I'll preview the rates with them. When Mr. Cumbie gets back in town, we have to schedule a Conservation Committee meeting with him so we could look at the rates from a conservation standpoint. That'll all happen in June. We'll bring him back in July. So we're on track for that. It's going pretty well so far, but I just wanted to share that little interesting insight that we're already finding in our data from last year. But pending any questions, I've got no further comments on the report.
All right.
I had one, I don't know if it's a question, but on your org chart, which, by the way, outstanding org chart. We've all seen it. We see it every month, but
Yeah.
not standard to see a quality org chart. So credit there. When we get guys upgraded like this, is there a way to highlight on the org chart to where we can visually see, you know, a new this month, you know, license or something? Just
We could add something to it, but I mean, the way it works is color coded already for water and wastewater, and I don't think we color code for A, B, C, or D, do we?
We do.
Yeah, there's color code for A,
Yeah,
B, C, or D, but I don't know it well enough
Ah,
to
I see.
realize there's been an upgrade.
Yeah.
So just another way to recognize, you know,
Sure.
when, because we're not doing this, you know, we do a grouping of them,
Right.
maybe the last 2 or 3 months when the licenses have happened.
Right.
Just a suggestion. It would help me see, hey, we got 3 this month.
Yep.
Hey, we got 1 this month. Hey, none. What's going on? You know,
Yeah.
kind of deal. So,
Yeah, Brian could do that.
just a suggestion. I don't know who I'm.
Brian doesn't. That's why it's so good.
And that is all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? We're good? All right. Thank you, Mr. Gage. Moving on to F2II, Brian.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your executive summary has been updated with all of the numbers for the month of April. We'll hit some of those highlights as we go through the report. Meter sets, we currently sit at 20,098, so that's an increase of 94. So 94 meter installs in April. That puts us currently on a projection for 1,100 meters for the entire year. We're averaging about 92 a month. Our initial projection was just shy of 1,200. It was 1,184. So we could see an uptick, but I mean, we're still over the 1,000 meter mark for the year, well over the 1,000 meter mark for the year for that. For water production, we produced or purchased a total of 550 acre feet between our wells and CRWA and all of our various sources in April. We did just finish our service on well 3 at plant 7. That is now up and operational as of yesterday. We were pumping 1,400 gallons per minute. We are now pumping 2,000 gallons per minute out of well 3, and that's from Edwards. Well 4 has already been pulled. That's our Trinity well, and Jurgensen Pumps is working on well 4. We're hoping to get that to the point where we can maximize our acre feet, just like we maximize Edwards. Last year, we pumped about 187 acre feet. We're authorized 656. So we're trying to see how we can maximize that pump or that well as much as possible and get Trinity to where we want it to be. Edwards did go down to stage 3 last month. Our curtailment numbers on attachment 1 have all been updated, and you'll notice that in attachment 1, and then that's also reflected in the executive summary on what we're authorized to pump and all that as well. For billing, we billed 626 acre feet, so significantly more than what we pumped, and I'll get to that in a minute, and that brought in just over $2.9 million in revenue in April. Our known water loss was 3.84 acre feet, so that's flushing and leaks and everything that we know about. And then as projected last month, our unknown water loss was a negative of 79.5 acre feet, which goes back to the usage from March catching up in April. So what looked like a fairly large unknown water loss in March has actually come down. Our current total for the year is 10% of unknown water loss. So we are right on track. In fact, I think we're going to get better as the year goes on, as we continue to monitor and all that stuff. So once again, just the world correcting itself with how billing and everything kind of plays out with how we go. For wastewater, we increased by 38 connections in April. You'll notice on your charts, Clearwater Creek is now on there. We have 5 connections in there. 3 are active. They are all billed to Lennar. So we'll start seeing connections come on for Clearwater Creek as they start to finish their homes and people start to move in and all that stuff. And you can actually see that in sewer billing as well. Really nothing significant to report there. Just the wastewater, just Clearwater Creek starting to pop up in there. And then plant utilization for April, just over 20%. So about 150, just over 150,000 gallons a day for April, pending any questions.
Where does the flow for the 5 units in the Clearwater sewer shed go?
So they are doing an on-site treatment, a temporary on-site
So
treatment.
they're handling it on.
They are handling it. So it's hands-off on Green Valley side. It was kind of a commitment we made with the process dragging out so long, and they needed to get homes on the ground. And so we allowed them to do on-site treatment while the plant's being built. Yes.
With all the rain, have we had any issues? Any sewer issues?
We've seen a slight increase in flow, but nothing that the plant can't handle. The team has it under control. Everything's well within the realm of norm. I know out in Cibolo Farms, we do have some issues with some of the laterals and the manholes. Those are being addressed with the developer, as we have not taken final completion of that with that part of the system yet. And Travis can elaborate more on that if need be.
So with all the water too that we're getting, revenue is going to come down. Normally, this is the bell curve
Yep.
that we're supposed to be seeing the uptick in financials. We're not going to be hitting those monthly metrics, correct?
We're going to see a difference,
We're
yes.
gonna see a
Yes, sir.
difference.
There'll be a difference. And then it hasn't really materialized quite yet. I mean, if you look in the April numbers or not,
It
they're-
hasn't shown it.
it hasn't shown yet, but it's gonna show. And so it just depends on, I don't know, I would estimate somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million probably difference in revenue. That's probably, caused by the wet year is what to expect, but it hasn't materialized yet. And so I do expect it to come, but you've not seen it. So it's gonna be a lag. So yes, sir.
Personally, one of the things that I would be interested in seeing, because I'm on water conservation, is the top tier. Is it going to change any?
I don't believe that it will.
Yeah, I don't either, but
No.
I'm waiting for real numbers.
Yeah. So, because, going back to what I was talking about rates, the initial analysis has already showed that there's 75 customers of ours that still, year over year, use over 50,000 gallons a month. And it's true. I mean, it's there, and it was 75 last year, it's 76 this year, if you compare the data of who's in the top tier. So, to answer to address the Conservation Committee approach where we attempted with our rate structure to encourage conservation last year, it really hasn't moved the needle, right? It just hasn't. So, I mean, that's something for discussion in the committee for sure, as we look at that, what to do again about it this year. But there's 75 folks out of 20,000 that is, they're high users year over year.
All right. That's all the questions I had. Anybody else have any comments, concerns? All right. Thank you, Brian. Moving on to F2III. Travis.
Good morning, everybody. For the progress report for the month of May, we have 58 projects in design, 49 in construction, 7 in closeout, totaling 114 total projects. I'll give a quick update on the capital improvement projects. The highlights or the hot topics. The Lower Seguin Road design, I have taken off on the completion date on that. I've put to be determined. We've hit kind of a little bit of a delay. They have to do some archaeological surveying, and it's pushed the schedule out about 8 weeks. And so I'm waiting for a revised schedule to include that archaeological surveying. But the Lower Seguin portion of that contract is in the 60% design and should be pushing forward and probably get out to construction pretty quickly. We could progress through the 90% design pretty quickly. The Plant 3 and 8 generator project is progressing well. They were doing site work until the rain hit, but they were moving along. They were steadily moving along. We did hit a snag in the sizing of the generator at Plant 8, but the design team and the contractor and myself have been working through that. They selected a alternative generator, which kind of not doubled the size, but basically the layout and footprint was a little bit larger. And so we're just having to adjust the layout a little bit there, but it shouldn't affect the schedule. The long lead item on the generator is the long lead item. And so making the adjustments to the site, we have plenty of time to do that, since that right now the generator is scheduled to arrive in October. And so, which is better than I expected, actually, on the actual delivery date. The only other update I really have outside of the capital improvement projects is the Clearwater Creek wastewater treatment plant. It's on schedule. They're making good progress. They were actually, I was out there last week, and they were ahead of the schedule they provided. The contractor, the electrical contractor, had mobilized, and they were beginning to put underground conduits in and duct bank. I'm sure that was before it started raining last week and this week, and so I'm not quite sure what progress has been made since then, but it was good to hear they were ahead of schedule with the weather coming. But other than that, that's all the updates I have. If anybody has any questions.
All right, thank you for the update. Moving on to F3, CRWA Board Trustees post-meeting updates. Ms. McDaniel and Mr. Sherman.
So the biggest things that happened was they swore in the new trustees to start their terms, and then they appointed the executive positions again. And we pretty much kept our executive committee the same. Brandon Rohan's the president, Nick's the VP, Ted's the secretary, and I'm the treasurer. And then the only other real big thing that we did was we did discuss the general manager's goals and how we plan on doing evaluations moving forward.
Going about the same, I would say. I would tell the board, Sherry and I are working on it. We have strategies to help improve CRWA, and we are working on it. It's going slower than I'd hoped, but in process.
I would like to add that my next budget committee meeting for CRWA is going to be June the 16th. And that'll be, they're supposed to be providing the first draft of the budget. So we'll get a look at that in June.
What time's your meeting, Sherry?
10:30.
10:30? Okay.
You record that meeting or no?
Is that can I join that by Zoom, you think? We'll talk later. I want to come to that.
All right. Thank you. Any comments, concerns, we'll address later on. CRWA Board of Managers post-meeting updates. F4, Mr. Gage.
So it seems like the Board of Managers happened so long ago, and there's so many things that happened since. So the memorandum, in your board packets, I was reselected to continue to chair the Board of Managers, so that's good. I can tell you, I think we're having much better due to Sherry and Nick's leadership on the other two committees, construction and finance. The Board of Managers and the two committees are starting to work together a lot better. And we're starting to see, and Mr. Sherman can attest to this, sometimes we have some inconsistency of the information that the committees are dealing with. And so we're working through that one now. The Board of Managers has really taken the approach that we're focused on the impacts of things. The construction committee is, focusing on, the nuts and bolts of how to bring a project to fruition. And, of course, finance is working on funding it. And so if we can continue down that path where, the Board of Managers brings the impacts together back to the trustees, it would be good. It's just, it's difficult because we're having a hard time getting the same information across all three committees. This last committee meeting, a couple of things happened that was notable. I do believe I sent a burst out to the board about the groundwater district and Gonzales, whereas the Gonzales district placed a moratorium on new permits in order to review their rules in terms of surface acres to acre feet of water, right? Currently, the rule is, and with most groundwater districts, the rule is a 1-to-1 surface acre to acre foot of water ratio. Well, they're toying ideas to how to, from the standpoint of protecting the aquifer, I guess, they're talking about maybe reducing that ratio between 1-to-1. There was some clarity that came out. The board manager's a little bit concerned at first because we didn't know if that were retroactively affected permits or not. But it certainly seems it was clarified later that it wouldn't affect, current permits. So that makes us a little bit happier. However, we have a pretty large permit leasehold position in CRWA in Gonzales County and also in Guadalupe County. And the Board of Trustees, along with, the many entities, have to figure out what is going to be our approach, right? Are we going to offload some of these leases? Are we going to turn them into a project? Or maybe we need to hang on to them just to make sure that we have, enough production available, surface acre to acre foot of water to maintain the future. So it really complicates the decision-making. And what's tough about that is I'm not really sure, and I'm not saying this pejoratively, but I mean, I'm not really sure that all the trustees at Canyon Regional are across the topic well enough to understand. So the Board of Managers, I'm pushing, the Board of Managers kind of help with the so what. What does this mean to Canyon Regional? And so we'll stay on it. But I mean, other than that, the memo it seems old because the meeting was on the 6th of May. There's a lot that happened since then. But if any questions on that, over.
I'll just add that Mr. Gage is being bashful. It's not just Sherry and I there. He's working tremendously hard on the Board of Managers. The three-headed approach is working, not as fast as we want it to, but we are making progress from all angles. So I appreciate the compliment, but it's not just Sherry and I that are doing good work over there.
So I know, do y'all, well, this is my question, I don't know, but do y'all, Board of Managers, give feedback to Sherry's committee as to the projects financially to where, are you guys projecting an increase on CRWA's rates?
Well,
or?
so it's going to be interesting this year. Last board meeting, there was a statement made by one of the staff members that the 25 budget was too high, right? And I think I don't want to misquote her, but I think she used the word, it was overcharged, right? And so what we really have to pay attention to, and, and Sherry knows this, if they roll out the budget for 27 and the figures are higher in 26, well, when we were overcharged in 25, okay, we have really got to dig into that and see what was going on. But that statement was made, so we're very acutely aware of it. And like all three committees are aware of it. And so we're gonna keep, pushing on that topic. It's not that we don't want to take all the money away from CRWA. That does not make sense for anybody. However, we need to pay for the proper things and it needs to be used properly. And that's really the goal, that we're trying to do.
I also think the three of us working together also to utilize the remaining funds that was from the last budget. I think that's working out well because the Board of Managers came up with a list of stuff that needs to be done with our leftover money. And I know that he's working with Nick to make sure their committee is watching the construction projects that are supposed to be utilizing that money. And I'm trying to stay on top of as the money's being spent because we don't want to run into the same situation where they make a list of projects, it's already been approved to be funded, and then they don't ever use the money again, and we get right back to the same position. So we're really trying, the three of us, to make sure that the remaining money from the last budget is being utilized the way it was promised to be.
Yep. Okay. Close that back door of wasteful spending. All right. Thank you so much for y'all's efforts on that. All right. Moving on to ARWA Board Directors post-meeting updates. Mr. Sherman.
So the notes I have in the meeting are from last month's meeting. My ARWA meeting is held yesterday, so Pam can't get them into the packet in time. But from yesterday's meeting, the biggest takeaway was I was finally able to get the engineers that had made the original cost estimate on the next program of projects in the room so that we could, question them next to the CMAR contractor and the owner's rep with Pape Dawson about why is there $100 million discrepancy between A and B. I don't believe that the original number is correct. I think it's going to be a low number. I don't think the current $265 million for the total program is correct. I think they're somewhere in the middle, and I was able to say that. The way the project is being presented with multiple guaranteed maximum prices is not my understanding of how a construction manager at risk project is to operate. And I said that 3 times yesterday. I told them that if we don't have all the numbers presented together at one time, we do not have cost certainty, which is one of the advantages of going the CMAR route. So I'm saying it. I said it in front of the whole board. A couple of the other directors offline came and spoke to me. Yeah, I think I'm making some progress, but I don't know. It's a very expensive project. When we get the final number, we will look at it and say, yes, we want to press forward with this volume of additional water supply for this cost, or we'll say we don't. That leads me to my other comment. We have, I was told in the meeting yesterday, the board will need to make a definitive action in July. They expect to move forward with this project or not. I understand I have the authority to make that decision for Green Valley, but I'm not going to. I want to have an agenda item for us to review to where we see the numbers that I would be voting on and I get your feedback, because this is a lot of money and I'm not going to be the only one to make that call.
We're in May. 1 month appropriate time to get all the data put together to know how much we're going to be end up spending if we do projects agreement.
I think we being ARWA will need to delay a period of time, maybe a few weeks, call a special meeting, maybe just wait a month. This amount of money seems reasonable to me to sit on it and consider it a little bit and not just rush.
All the other entities doing the same thing as far as their rate impacts. I mean,
in the June meeting, I'm going to make the statement that if this board is generally in alignment with that, I'm going to make the statement at ARWA that, hey, Green Valley needs to have the documents and the numbers in front of us for us to review and chat about it before I just go rushing in and voting yes or no. So if I intend to say that publicly, so that maybe some of the other trustees that maybe don't, how do I say, talk as much as I do, to say it politely, maybe that'll turn off the light in their head that maybe they need to go back to their boards and councils and also present this information before we just go vote on it. Phil has a meeting with the executive director tomorrow. He and I have chatted about it. I'm going to ask him to mention that, hey, we're probably going to want to see the numbers before we call a vote, and just get that on his radar so it's not a surprise.
I think for the record, every entity should have gone back and briefed it to say, hey, here's your financial impacts. If they don't have those numbers, I think it would be premature. Jump into it
100%.
and agree. So
100%.
I agree with you. I think, but to go back to your previous question, so staff on our side, we don't have a whole lot of work to do with this. I mean, what I want to avoid and what I'll discuss tomorrow in my meeting is, we need to have the appropriate amount of time, because you guys remember in the past when you've been brought, bond packages for ARWA, we almost normally have to have a special meeting in order to get it through. And it shouldn't be that way. I mean, we should do this in regular order with the appropriate amount of time to come through. I mean, it shouldn't be a rush special meeting. And so I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. And then, but if the numbers are not, in there, there's no way we can take action on it. I mean, they have to give us the full package. And this is not something that this staff produces. They have to give us, what the cost is of the project, and then we'll do some fast analysis and tell you what it's going to do to the budget, but that's not a heavy lift for us. I mean, we can do that quickly. But my line with ARWA tomorrow is going to simply be, we're not going to do a special for this, so plan accordingly, right? If you want it to happen in July, we've got to have it by our board meeting in June, and that's just the way it is. And so I think the time you're talking about, I think that should be our approach. We shouldn't have to do a special to rush through a bond measure for ARWA, in my opinion.
okay. Do you have any concerns? Everybody's okay supporting that action that Nick will?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then the only other thing, in the packet, we're still, the table that shows the existing plant and the program of pipelines delivering flow, we're still showing delivering, quote, delivering to Green Valley's take point, where we're not actually delivering. I keep bringing that up because we can't take that water right now. We're leasing it to Kyle. They can take it. But this is one of the things that I'm not dropping. I'm not letting it go. And again, Phil is going to speak to the executive director tomorrow on their talk.
All right, well, it's another big monster to fight. Onward and forward. Okay, moving on to item G, or sorry, not G, F6, committee reports. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or the committee chairs, do you have any big things you want to talk about right now, or are you good?
I'm
Just-
having a budget committee the same day here as I am at CRWA, so it's a double budget committee day.
Double whammy for Sherry.
Sherry's going to
June
be in a good
16th.
mood.
10:30 at CRWA and 2 p.m. here.
Bring the Tylenol.
So point of order, she actually wanted it that way, okay?
Point of privilege, or?
Point of privilege, whatever.
What is
Just checking.
that?
I didn't know which one. I gotta read up on that Robert Rule of Order. Mr. Chairman, you have any comments?
No, Travis, follow up on our last committee discussion items on the next one, and then any other non-standard service agreements we have. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe we have a lot in the pipeline. Shannon's
So
very
there's-
busy.
There's 12 floating out there. I know for sure we'll have 3 go to the board next month, possibly more.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, just for the record though, as of today going forward, it's gonna be changed up where it's a new payment
Yes.
agreements.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
just want to make sure that everything, we know when it started, when it ends, old stuff, new stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up because the intent behind this, and so the construction committee will see this. When these are presented to the construction committee, you'll see all of this. But the whole intent behind how we're changing the NSSAs is to take the unpredictableness out of when we receive capital revenue. And, we have a couple different ways, and Shan's tied himself up into knots figuring it out, but he figured it out. And so now there's going to be, every contract's going to have dates when payments are due. So we will know when the contract's signed, when to expect payment. It's going to help us in a number of ways. One of the biggest ways it's going to help us with is to project revenue appropriately for capital revenue. Because right now, we're guessing because we're not in control. The developers are in control when they turn in their projects and when we approve the six, so it's something we can't predict accurately. So this will help with that, but it also helps it shows us our revenue. So when we go out and we do have to borrow money, we actually can prove a revenue stream. We could say this contract has the following revenue, and that'll help, prove up revenue from when we need it, instead of just having a big receivable pile laying out there on the books and it's not coming in, appropriately. Pisses off the auditors too, obviously. And so hopefully it's going to fix all that. First batch will be next week.
I would just add,
Or next
we can't fix everything as far as predicting and certainty with the revenue streams because the impact fees work a little bit different,
Yeah.
but we're controlling what we can.
That's right. Yeah, impact fees will always be at meter set regulatorily, by law. But every other fee will be sorted out.
Gina, you're okay with it?
We're
Yeah, making you happier?
we're just trying to make Gina's life easier.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to do.
Making your life easier. I love it.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping it has the intended results.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Awesome. Well,
We've
if
really,
it-
we
if
worked
it-
really hard with Shan on this.
If it's an
to-
issue, you let us know.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item G, review bids and award contract for the Zip Family Sports Park Reclaimed Water Treatment Plant. Mr. Basham.
Good morning again. On April 21st, we received 6 qualifying bids through the competitive seal proposal method for this project. And with that, staff and UEG scored using the scoring matrix provided in the contract bid documents. I did bring this to the construction committee with a recommendation. The recommendation had a caveat. I needed a little bit of legal advice from Shan regarding some of the terms of the contract and what was submitted by the bidders. We got that answer. I turned around and sent an email to the construction committee, again, recommending the same contractor, which is TTE. They were the highest net score of 92.75. under the solicitation, and we along with UEG recommend awarding TTE LLC the project for a combined cost of $4,544,509. As I mentioned, I recommended that to the construction committee. Had some questions I need to follow up on. We followed up on that, and we made some clarification to the construction committee on that. So we're comfortable with awarding TTE.
And the funding source for this is,
So it'll be funded upfront by us, but then it'll be reimbursed by the city of New Braunfels. We're still working through the contract we have a signed contract, but I've asked the city to work with us on amending that because the contract was signed before COVID and escalated prices. And so the way the contract is set is they're supposed to pay a set amount for the entire 2 pipelines and the plant, and then pay the overage of that set amount through 5 years of payments, monthly payments. The way it's kind of set up is funky.
Established or no?
Sorry?
Do we have an interest rate established on that, or is it?
No,
just-
there's no interest rate on
Cost.
it. It's just a flat rate of.
So we're carrying them out of the goodness of our hearts. So, okay.
Yes, and that's kind of we were trying to. I'm trying to work with the city to cut down on some of that upfront cost to get a bigger chunk upfront, because I think the only upfront cost was somewhere near $2 million, and it's well higher than that for all 3 projects. And so we're still working through that, but as we award this contract, the trigger point in the agreement with the city is I think they need to pay up within 30 days. So I have a meeting with the city tomorrow to discuss this a little bit further. So
On a scale of 1 to we shouldn't do it, what if we just tell them we're not doing anything else until we get paid the end? Because seeing what's going on, if you've been online, seeing what's going on in New Braunfels, that might be
Yes.
our only
We can
option.
talk about that in executive
Yeah,
session if you
we
want.
can answer that further in executive session.
Yeah.
I think we have an answer
do you
for
want to,
that.
do you want to recess and come back and talk about it, or?
Maybe. I mean,
Uh,
if
well,
we
well,
look at what,
let's
if we
do
look at
this.
what's going on in New
Let's take those
Braunfels,
questions. Hold on. Let's.
but we need to
well,
understand
I
what's
know, I
going
know.
on with their leadership right now in
Right,
New
ho-
Braunfels,
hold
and
on,
we might not
hold
get
on,
paid.
Hold on. We'll take that in executive session. Okay. So, thank you. All right. So we're gonna table this one for a minute. We'll come back to this after executive session, and we'll take an action after that one. All right. So, moving on to item H, status and possible participation in Alliance Regional Water Authority versus Walker Partners LLC and Kimley Horn Associates. That one, do you want to take it to
Recommend executive session.
as well? Okay. And then no NSSAs on item I. We're good on that. Check. And then Shan, do you have any pending threatening litigation?
Update on either one of those.
Okay. So with that, we're going to take a 10-minute recess. We'll go into executive session, let's say 10 o'clock on the top. So time is 9:46. We'll go to executive session under Texas Government Code, section 551.071 through 551.074. Upon matters of the attorney, duty to report to Texas Rules of Disciplinary Code items G, H, K, and L. Yep.
What, Jay? Did we have?
Sorry. L and yeah, I got J. Did I? Did I say J? No, we didn't need J. All right. Time is 9:46. Thank you. Mic check. All right, we're coming back into open session. Time is 10:59. We took items G, H, L, M into executive session, also with K. Now we're moving on to item N, consideration and possible action on discussed items in executive session. We'll go with item G first. Review bids and award contract for the Zip Family Sports Park Reclaimed Water Treatment Plant. Mr. Sherman?
I'll make a motion that we award the contract for the Zip Family Sports Park Reclaimed Water project to TTE LLC in the amount of $4,544,509.
All right, we're gonna do a roll call vote. Mr. King?
You need a second first, right? Don't you? You need a second?
Oh, sorry. He made a motion, so Mr. King seconds. Mr. King, sorry, all in favor, we're gonna do a roll call vote, sorry.
Aye.
Mr. Sherman?
Aye.
Mr. Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Hendricks?
Abstain. This wasn't supposed to cost GVSUD anything.
And Ms. McDaniel?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. All right, so that passes, and then we're gonna go to item H, status and possible participation in the Alliance Regional Water Authority versus Walker Partners LLC and Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. lawsuit. Ms. McDaniel?
I move to direct the general manager and general counsel to take the necessary steps to intervene in the pending ARWA versus Kimberly Horn and Walker Partners lawsuit.
I have a motion by Ms. McDaniel. Do I have a second? Mr. Hendricks seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Okay, all right, moving on to item L, discuss STX Frio NSSA process under Texas Government Code, section 5.1.01.
I'll make a motion to authorize the general manager to negotiate and execute a water service NSSA with STX Frio according to the terms discussed in executive session.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Sherman, a second by Ms. McDaniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, I believe that's all the actions that need to be taken. Going to item O, consideration for proposed items to be included in next month's board meeting agenda.
I have one. In the last construction committee meeting, I learned we don't have an industrial waste order. I think that's an important document to have. I'd like staff to go discuss with one of our consultants and bring back a proposal for an industrial waste order for next month if possible. I think that's an important document to have.
We'll be on it.
Anybody else? We good? All right, moving on to item P, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, time is 11:02. Thank you.